Welcome to the Jeff Crilley Show.
My name is Jorge Heredia. I'll be your guest host, filling in Jeff's shoes. I want to talk a little bit about something that is near and dear to all of us in the holidays. Those are gifts, emotions, that holiday spirit that everybody gets. And my next guest is actually a really nice guy. I just got to meet him a few minutes ago, and he's a lot of fun. He's a florist, works for probably, in my opinion, the best name I've ever heard for a florist, which is Petals Stems. Brad Weinstein is with us. Did I get that right, Brad?
You did. Good morning.
How are you this morning?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
So did you bring the wonderful flowers we have here?
I did. This is a pave, which is very popular right now. It's just a tight cluster of flowers. And what's great about this is that you could just make something beautiful like this almost yourself. So it's just not buying a flower from a florist, a floral arrangement, and having it delivered. You could pick up flowers just as easily at the grocery store and kind of put something like this together. Or you could come into our store and hand pick a few things and put something like this together yourself for a dinner party.
Well, I personally am not creative enough for that. I could guess, and I think I surprised you a little bit by knowing that you had eucalyptus in there.
Yeah, I was impressed.
So, I learned a little something. I want you to tell me a little bit about what it takes to actually be a florist and kind of what's the difference, because a lot of people think that a horticulturist, florist, and they kind of lump everybody in the same thing, and it's very different what you do as to just, the growing of flowers.
Sure, and it's funny too, because I get that all the time when people hear that I'm a florist, they start asking me gardening tips, and that's more of a horticulturalist who actually studies plants and flowers. We're more of a retail end where we provide the service of getting the flowers and preparing the flowers and maintaining the flowers in our care. So that I would say is the big difference. The horticulturist more studies the flowers and plants at a whole lot more magnitude than we do. We're more about making it beautiful and putting it together.
You know what? The whole interview is going to go south because I was going to ask you all about soil samples and types of grass, and no, I'm kidding.
I was just telling a story a minute ago that to this nice lady over here that a couple years ago, I was asked at my kid's school the science teacher to come and talk about flowers. And I said, oh, great. I can talk about marketing and this and that and selling flowers. And she goes, no, I want you to talk about, the scientifics. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, I had to pick up and start studying it.
You were cramming, huh?
I was. And I emailed my science teacher and I said, all those years I told you that I would never use science in my life? Well, I am. So I have to say I'm sorry and eat crow. And he emailed me back and said he appreciated that. So, but yes, if it wasn't for science, it's true. If it was not for science, I would not be in this seat today having the job that I have, and I love it. The power of flowers and the emotion that when people receive flowers and gifts, how that affects their mood. There's actual studies out there.
Actually, I wanted to talk to you about that because I've read a couple of the studies and I did some research on my own, and I found it interesting that there's actual evidence.
Yes.
This isn't somebody that decided one day, gave somebody a flower, saw a happy face, and said, oh, there's a study. There's a lot of studies like that, but these are actually scientific studies. So what did you learn, and how has it affected your business that these flowers actually not only elicit emotions, but bring kind of an emotional energy into a situation?
When my father started the business 43 years ago, and I started back in 1997. He's still involved in the business today. But when I first got involved, I saw how it brightened people's lives. But I never read any research until maybe in the 2000s. There was research done by Rutgers University, and it's on our website in our press room, that it showed the emotional impact that when someone received flowers, if in the hospital or for someone's birthday or anniversary, how it caused an immediate impact of an emotion of happiness for them. I tell the story that I had a customer once tell me that her son-in-law had just died in a traffic accident, and she was at the house with her daughter, and her daughter had 3 kids, and the doorbell rang and a florist was there with a beautiful bouquet of flowers. And she said, for a split second, she almost forgot that her son-in-law had just passed and that her daughter was going to be raising these children by herself, and what a horrific event that was. But for a split second, the motion of those flowers and the beautiness of the flowers put something into her brain of some type of peace and happiness.
Now, how do you come up with these arrangements? Because they're incredibly creative. You were talking about a couple of minutes ago about somebody just buying some flowers and kind of arranging things. Is there a certain way that you can arrange the flowers? You know, do certain I might sound a little ridiculous, but do all flowers go together? I mean, do they really?
I mean, a lot of the floral designers, we have 6 floral designers on staff, and the floral designers have been in the business for a long time. A lot of them were raised into the business, that their parents worked at a flower shop or owned a flower shop, and so they learned the business. But a lot of it plays with the colors and the textures of the flowers. Definitely the bigger pieces that require a lot more greenery and things like that, that can be very difficult. And again, I think the floral designer's eyes sees the texture of a linear flower to a focal flower to a foliage.
Like a painter
exactly,
or a sculptor.
Exactly. It is. It's exactly, it's a work of art. Where I was just suggesting with this is that it's not so hard, because you can just kind of poke some things around and it still looks pretty. Now, don't get me wrong; it still takes a floral designer to. I didn't create this, and I do go in the back room and create some things, but I'm more like nervous about it, asking the floral designer to check it over, going, "Hey, please
check
look
your
at
work,
this."
right?
Yeah. I'm a little, but I just want to make sure, because they're more of the artist side. We run the business. Like I said, my father started the business 43 years ago, and we the floral designers who actually have the knack for this taught us the industry.
And it's Petals and Stems.
Yes, sir.
Now, how does the crazy El Nino weather that we're having right now, I mean, I think we haven't seen weather like this and an El Nino this strong in at least 50 years. So
you know
how does it affect the flowers in your business?
What's so great about today is that all around the equator we're getting flowers. Maybe in the late 70s and 80s, they were just coming from the California to the Ecuadorian side, but now it's just amazing that we're getting flowers from Mexico, we're getting flowers from Israel, we're getting flowers all over the place. So there's really not. There are some flowers that aren't in season, but it's really hard to find a flower that isn't available at that time of the year. Like if I said a hydrangea, if someone said they wanted white hydrangeas any time of the year, because there's so many different sources that are growing hydrangea now. So in California, if it's a horrible storm over there,
you can get them somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, you guys deliver all over the Metroplex, is that correct?
Yes, the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and we also send flowers outside the Dallas delivery area. We partnered through Teleflora, and we're in the top 50 out of the 20,000 florists that are in that network. So we have a lot of preferred florists we work with in Houston, San Antonio, wherever that city is, and have a relationship with them.
Now, your website, is it the same fantastic name that you have?
Yes,
it's just petalsandstems.com. I like that. Now, for my last question, something that I see all the time that people do is they crash a car, they leave a note, and I want you real quick before we have to go to break, give me the most interesting one that you've ever seen.
Okay, so one of the card messages I received from a customer, and I took this call early one morning. The card message said, "Sorry that I hit your car this morning. It was really nice meeting you, and I would like to buy you a drink. I will call you soon, Joe." So he hit her early in rush hour traffic, and maybe he hit her on purpose. I don't know. And so he exchanged insurances, and he had her phone number, and he knew where she worked, and so that the rest is history. I don't know whatever ended up happening with that relationship.
Well, I can tell you this. I think it's a fantastic thing that people can do during the holidays. Petals and Stems. I wouldn't suggest anybody go out and crash a car, right?
That's right.
Or do anything wrong. You might as well just get a loved one or even a complete stranger and send some flowers.
Sure.
That would be nice. I'd like to receive some flowers. I know Kevin would. Kevin's always itching to receive flowers.
Oh, always.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what, if somebody emails me at brad@petalsandstems.com and just emails me that they listen to this, I'm going to pick one winner to receive flowers so that they can see that the flower power, how they feel when they receive flowers. If they just email me their name, that they watched this show or heard this show.
Heard the show, yeah.
Heard the show. It's brad@petalsandstems.com. I'm going to pick one lucky winner. I want to send them a beautiful arrangement or flowers to maybe a significant of theirs.
Well, you guys heard it here first on the Jeff Crilley Show. Email Brad. Remember, petalsandstems.com. Get a phenomenal flower arrangement. And Brad, thank you very much for being with us.
Pleasure.
I enjoyed it, especially on a sunny day like this. So we're going to go to a quick break, and Kevin's going to take us to that break. But when we come back, you're going to see what the energy, the sun, Dallas-Fort Worth, and this phenomenal weather all has to do when we have another Brad on. We'll be right back, 1190. Jeff Crilley Show.
Allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste.